much more respect, and it should be, you know, the pinnacle for anybody to want to get to. You know, a bit like Japan are with Wrestle Kingdom and all the rest of it. Like, to get on it, you have to be a certain quality, and whether that means you don't have 6-7 hours worth of WrestleMania, then so be it, because I'd rather have quality over quantity. And this was one of those times. This plus WrestleMania 19, the pacing of them were absolutely fantastic. That's as we see, that's really good, the exchange there between Angle and Michaels. The thing when you've got two incredibly, you know, established athletes and wrestlers like this is sometimes on paper you see it and you think, is this going to work? And there's always that kind of, you know, that wonder. You know, a couple of years ago, when me and Matt was previewing Nakamura and AJ Styles, we both, you know, for months we were saying this is going to be the biggest thing. It's going to be the greatest wrestling match. They'll hopefully rekindle what they did at New Japan. My God, it was terrible. It wasn't that they didn't put enough effort into it, but just from a standpoint of just the chemistry was just so off, and it was just not what you thought. And sometimes you do get that. Seen it many a times, and you think, like, these such good wrestlers, but Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels, different kettle of fish, really are. As we see Angle putting him straight into that ring post. Always a big point for Shawn Michaels in any of his big matches was his back. They used to harp on about that like nothing else, you know, and the amount his back did take, I was very impressed by the end of it. Let's put it that way. Considering everything that had happened to it, and there was always the big thing from the commentators. They never really steered away from that or sort of evolved it into anything else. It was always the back was the big serious problem. Don't go near it, and there was always a bullseye on it, if you will. But that's for Angle with the upper hand. A couple of kicks there going in high. Not usual Angle style. This is, of course, the infamous build-up where Kurt Angle sang the Shawn Michaels theme song. He had Sensational Sherry do it with him as well. Also featured Marty Jannetty coming back as well for a little run, where you had all these people that had kind of been with Michaels at one point or another. And I thought that was quite good to the feud, really, on that one. So yeah, carrying on with this. So this is now a point where Angle is obviously now the upper hand. This is the story they're telling. A lot of back and forth was expected in this one, but I enjoyed the way they pitched this in the end. I thought this was much better. I mean, they could have gone a completely different route. They did have a rematch down the line. Might have been, I can't remember if it was like, I can't remember exactly when it was, but then they did like a rubber match. I think that was on like a Raw as well. So they did try and do the return match for this. Now, the crowd-wise, they were kind of into Angle, even though they weren't supposed to be. Like, he was very much, like, you knew this guy could perform quality, so. Incredible throws there from Angle. Just, you know, you forget how good this guy is. This is I know he harps on about it, but I'm going to harp on about it too. The guy won a gold medal for a broken freaking neck, as he says. You know, that's just insane. And, you know, that was 96. The fact that this was like 2005, and 10 years later, like he's working week in, week out. Like, it's crazy. Pretty vicious there from Angle on this one. Just trying to get it going, isn't he? See Shawn Michaels just selling it a little bit more. Notice the referee as well. He's wearing like the blue SmackDown top, and that's because at the time they took the whole brand split a lot more serious than they do today. And they had their own referees and stuff like that, which I always thought was a nice touch. This was, I would say, probably the last... Well, no, actually, I reckon there was like another 2 more WrestleManias where the brand split was in full force, like kept absolutely separate. And then I'd say around 2007, 8, it just kind of became a non-event for me. But you see Kurt Angle would have a little busted lip. I loved those uppercuts he used to do to guys in the corner. Really good. Full force. A lot of guys these days and wrestlers, and I'm no expert by the way. Here we go, is he going to do that pull off the belly to belly suplex? But yeah, a lot of guys when they punch, they need to learn it a little bit better. Like they need to make it look better, like it's really connecting. It's kind of a lost art. I kind of wish... I always tell younger guys when they ever ask me for my opinion, which isn't much to be honest with you, but when I'm doing press at some shows and stuff, like a lot of the younger guys will come up to me and they'll say, can you give me any advice if you was watching me? And I always talk to them about their punches, and I try to get them to go back on some old territory days stuff and watch how they threw them. I love the pace to this. I love the fact that they've just really worked the crowd into this a little bit. Straight over the top goes Kurt Angle. The thing with the straps with Kurt Angle, you knew he was going to go full pelt as soon as they came down. It's something small, but it was always phenomenal when he used to do that. Shawn Michaels knows no fear, straight onto Kurt Angle there. See that jump again. Yeah, my friend who was like a massive Michaels fan, he was yet to have he had a problem with his ring, like the pants he wore, because they weren't the tight ones that he used to wear for Shawn Michaels. Like, I used to drive him mad, and he used to like him. He didn't like the fact that he never wore his gloves either. It was like a big thing to him. I remember this part. He was thinking, Christ, if he did this, how dangerous would this actually be? It was thankful that Shawn Michaels, had good grip. This could go terribly wrong for both of them. But look how like they're laying it in with each other. They're not, they're full connecting. They look like they're connecting. It's a lot different to what you're seeing these days. But both these guys knew the art of this. And selling as well. Something that's very lost these days at the moment. And when I say these days, I don't really picture 21 as being that old. But when I'm watching some of these days, it is making me think that I know a lot of the crop that are there now. Oh man, that damn table never gave way, did it? This is where the commentators say they're reinforced this year. The actual tables. Why they had to say that, I do not know. If the commentators were better off just not saying anything, and like how hard that would be to press against, but of course they had to throw it in because the normal style of wrestling is the table should always break. God forbid it doesn't, and so it's been reinforced this year. That was the big takeaway. Crazy athleticism there though, in that one. But yeah, going back to what I was saying originally, the NXT pretty much has flooded now WWE, which is good and fantastic. But something I'm realising very early on is that I don't know that those guys are are learning the craft of selling as much as they should be. And maybe it's because NXT is such a fast pace, I don't know, but I do feel like that's one of the big things. And they certainly love their false finishes now, which always makes a match a lot more exciting, no doubt about that. But then you of course lose the identity of a finisher, which is another big pet hate of mine. The art of the finisher, the days of having a finisher are very much a thing of the past, especially when you start to see guys kicking out on like Raw and SmackDown now, not even waiting for a pay-per-view, much less WrestleMania. I love this. I love the fact that Angle's just like still cussing him off as he's half down. Just holding his ribs, really selling that well. You see Shawn Michaels with the chops. But yeah, this was cool to always get on. I always wanted to see this when Michaels came back. I always wanted to see an Angle Shawn Michaels match. I felt like this was money. There we go, the nip up, the signature from Shawn Michaels. Straight punches as Kurt Angle's coming in. Here we go. Bam. Don't forget, guys, I say this a lot, harping on 1310 Appeal. Go and check them out now. 1310appeal.bigcartel.com. Go and check them out now. Great quality. And use our promo code WrestleLine, 15% off. As we see Shawn Michaels come down with the elbow. At times, Shawn Michaels was just, he could really make a broomstick look good. And then there were times like this where he would infuriate you, I suppose, if you was a kid. You'd just be like, for God's sake, man, just get on him. Stop messing around. Here we go, tuning up the band. Now, people always want one or the other, whether they liked the tuning up of this sweet chin music or coming out of nowhere. I think in the later days, the sort of out of nowhere sweet chin music was just a little bit more over than that for me. Because I remember the Shelton Benjamin one on Raw, where Benjamin comes off the top rope and just flies into it. It's just absolutely incredible piece of footage. Probably check that out on YouTube. It's amazing to see. Also, guys, for WrestleMania, let me know what what you plan on doing. Obviously, we're very much in isolation, but let me know if you're going to be watching it, or and some of the things you're going to do. I've literally made a little order on my Amazon account earlier. I made sure I've got enough. Got my little WrestleMania little pack coming to me. Kind of tradition. I want to make sure I get my my munchies and my energy drinks. That's for damn sure. See Kurt Angle now, scouting him out. Oh, went for the angle slam. Nice reversal. Back onto that ankle lock. Oh, that was good. You got to remember that these guys are like pulling this out, and the stage they are in the match, like, it's just phenomenal sometimes. Nice angle slam. Sold it well. Damn. Still kicks out. These are these shows, the WrestleMania, ideally, where when you put a finish on and a guy kicks out, this is the show to do it. Not all year round. But if you wait till this, strap's coming up now, that's excellent. and now he pulls them down. I remember that. It's excellent. He's going to go for this crazy... Of course, you remember this on the steel cage. Unbelievable, for the top ropes.